right, so my name's Rebecca Stockley. I'm an improviser. How many of you are improvisers? Let me put your hands together. I'm not alone. These are my friends, the improvisers of the world, and I've already lost my mic. It'll stay there. Hi. So I'm going to start a little differently. I'm going to start with questions. What questions do you have? No. You have been inhaling and inhaling and inhaling, listening, learning, and laughing for hours. So I want to give you a little opportunity to exhale. A little bit like Andrew did earlier, I'm going to have you partner up with someone near you and play an improv game. And then I'll tell you what you did. Got it? Good. If you would, please find one or two partners. There's someone who's sitting near you, behind you, or in front of you. You could be a group of 2 or of 3. Much bigger than that, it gets hard to hear each other. Please find a partner. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so I wear a bicycle belt when I lead improvisation exercises in large groups because you're going to be noisy, so when you hear the bell, stop talking. Got it? This is a very basic improvisation game, and it incorporates some of the key skills, the key principles of improvisation. Number 1, please don't try to be interesting, clever, or funny. It won't help. Fuck originality. Just listen to your partner and say what needs to be said next. You and the people you're working with, or you and your partner, you're going to make a story that's never been made before, one word at a time. If you decide what your story is going to be about in advance, it won't be the same open, playful experience as if you discover what the story is about as you go along. Got it? Okay. I'm going to give you a moment or so to make up a story, one word at a time. Action. I heard a lot of laughter. I heard some squealing from you. How was that? It was fun? Did anybody have your story go a direction you didn't expect it to go? Yeah, this is the key. The key to improvisation is it takes us places we don't anticipate. So there are a lot of different principles of improvisation. I'm going to take you through 3 or 6 or so. The first one is listening, deep listening. If you listen to your partner or your colleagues or your audience or your clients, whoever it is you're improvising with, then you are more likely to be able to discover and co-create together. So deep listening involves paying attention first. And if I'm in a place of going, I'm going to tell them this, and I'm going to tell them that, and I'm going to tell them that, I'm not hearing them. So I need to just relax a little bit, take a breath and sigh it out. Let me hear you. If you relax a little bit, it makes you a better partner. And if you stay present instead of running off into the future. Anybody here ever finish anybody else's sentences? Yeah, me too. I'm still working on that one. Just slow down and listen and see where things go with deep listening. Listen to your partners. Some people say that improvisation, the practice of improvisation, is a little bit like mindful interaction or interactive mindfulness. It's a little bit like meditating out loud with somebody else, getting present and focused. The other thing that's very helpful is get curious about what the other guy is saying. If I have this anticipation of where the story's going, I know where it's going, and my partner says something, and I'm not curious, open, listening, I don't even hear it, and I can't incorporate it and let it change me. So get curious about what your partners are saying, and you're more likely to be changed by them, and that's imperative. I've had you play first, so I'll move on. Okay, the other thing is, I want to ask you this. How many of you had the experience while you were making up that little one word at a time story where you felt like you said the wrong word? Anybody? Or the word that you said, you judged it afterward? Or when it came to your turn, you didn't know what to say? Just a couple people. Anybody feel embarrassed by what you said, but you don't want to raise your hand? Yeah, so rather than getting all judgmental about ourselves, which is kind of where we live, or at least it's where I live, Instead of being judgmental about yourself and your own ideas, let go and celebrate so that when you make a mistake, like you send a Twitter of a vagina to the entire clientele of your airline, instead of getting all shameful about it, let go of it. The company was beautiful because they basically let go and they kept the guy hired, right? So it's failing good-naturedly rather than failing and going all shameful. So what I like to teach my improv students to do is to celebrate when you make mistakes and take on the body language of triumph. This is a cultural universal. Human beings all over the world, when they celebrate, when they have triumph, when they win a race, when they're incredibly successful, when they feel joy, complete bliss, they throw their arms up in the air, their chests go up, they breathe in and they make a big sound. If you would, please kindly stand up, put down your iPad, put your arms in the air, way up, raise your sternum, take a big breath and let me hear a big noise. 1, 2, 3. Wow! So that's the body language of failure. So whenever you mess up, whenever you make a mistake, if you take this pose, if you take a breath, if you let out some kind of a holler, some people say, I made a mistake. Whatever you say, just let it go. You're more likely to be able to get over and learn from your mistakes. I wouldn't recommend doing this if you make your spouse angry. Or if you don't have a boss who will keep you even though you tweet a vagina. Okay, so the failure brow teaches us to celebrate risks and embrace mistakes. And yeah, I don't need to go on into more detail about it. You get it, right? So I'm going to have you play more improv games as we go along. When you do, if you mess up, feel embarrassed, have a little bit of shame, don't know what to say, any of those things, just throw your arms up in the air and make a sound. Let me hear you do it again. What, from seated? 1, 2, 3. It's turned into a whoa. Who knew that would happen? So we're going to play another game. This is an opportunity for you to listen to your partner, let your partner's ideas change you, go with what they give you, and celebrate if you don't know what to say or if you feel like you mess up. Got it? And just to save time, you're going to play with the same group of people. The same person or people. You could gather into a group of 5 if you like. Are you guys playing up there? Yay! Woo! Okay, good. So if you would, find somebody near you to play, make some eye contact, touch their hand, look in their eyes, say hello. And we're really going to work on letting your partner change you. So not just listening, but letting your partner change you. And when we do that, we want to adapt. Who changes more than a caterpillar, right? And they're part of making the change. So if I go around waiting for somebody to change me, then I'm a very passive partner. If I go around looking to be changed, then I'm really fun to play with. This is a secret, by the way. It'll make your family like you better. So I need to adapt, let go. Sometimes let go of my own biases, ideas, expectations, and play with my partner. And we're going to play a game that was created by an improviser playwright. His name is Ken Adams, and he invented the story spine. And this is basically the hero's journey. And the first person says, once upon a time, and then finish that thought. I'm going to do this with all of you for a moment, just to give you an idea of how it goes. Once upon a time, there was a dinosaur who liked to do what? Who loved to eat grass. We'll make it love. And every day, the dinosaur would belch. But one day, when the dinosaur ate grass and belched, what happened? He fell over. Because of that, he farted. We're reincorporating now. Because of that, what happened? He created so now we're just reincorporating what's gone on today, which is lovely. And we have the sort of the sense of humor of a 5-year-old. Farting and belching. He created an app, and because of that, what happened? What was that? His wife left him. Ever since then, what? Ever since then, he's been extinct. The wife left, he couldn't breed. The moral of the story is? That's right. Right? Yeah. You all have the moral. I love it. So, with your group, if you would, make up a story, one line at a time. Really listen to your partners, get curious about what they mean, and see if you can, don't be original, fuck originality, just go with what seems to be in the story, inside of that circle. You got it? Okay. This should be able to happen in about 2 minutes. I'll check in and see if you need more time. Action. How was that? Can you remember one of your morals? Who remembers their moral? What was it? Join a gang. The moral of the story is join a gang. Yeah. Fathers always catch up with mothers. That's the moral. That would make me happy as a child to hear that. Yeah.
Tree pose is a good way to make ice cream, man.
What is?
Tree pose, yoga tree pose.
Okay.
Is a good way to make ice cream.
Okay, the tree pose is a good way to make ice cream men. And that's like a snowman?
Don't have sex with the ice cream man.
Oh.
They make little ice cream. They made little ice cream.
Oh, okay, don't have sex with the ice cream man seems to be the subtext, yes. A new chair can change your life. And? Don't kiss somebody until you're absolutely sure they're not related to you. So, in my experience, if I let go, and this is, if we let go of trying to be funny, trying to be right, trying to be accurate, if we let go of those things and play, then we can actually make discoveries together and co-create stories that might never exist. But quantity is quality. In my experience, you can tell 1 billion of these stories and a few of them will be golden. It's the practice that's important. The practice of doing this is that's important. And I know some of you took a photo of that. If you didn't take one, if you know any young people or ever go on road trips with young people, teach this game to them. It'll kill hours of driving time. All right, so the first sort of pillar of learning to improvise is deep listening. And the next pillar is to adapt, to let your partner change you. Oh, should I go back for photos? And then the next pillar is basically about building on your partner's ideas. And who knows what the rule of improvisation is? The rule lives out, what is it? You have to say yes to everything. And I'm hearing a chorus of yes and around the room. So yes and, it's like improvisation is a pebble in a lake. And yes and is lapping at the shores of the world. Educators, business people, yes and is out there. And I've learned that if an organization or a business takes on yes and, or the idea that you must say yes in your organization, it's a rule. There is a tipping point where it turns into a way of bullying other people. You're supposed to say yes. So I just want to warn you, if you've really made yes a big part of your life, give it context, for God's sake. But building on the ideas of others is always invaluable, and it requires that you listen and accept and say yes and. Yes and is probably the easiest way to brainstorm that exists. It means that you set aside all of the reasons not to do something, like it never worked when we tried it before, or we can't afford it, or, right? It's easy for us to come up with a lot of reasons that something cannot be done. Who's good at that? Vetoing ideas. Anybody? Yeah. So that's the easy part. But putting yourself into a place where everybody's just yes-anding and building on the ideas of others can take you to some place you wouldn't expect. And if you say yes and, you might actually get a path. And you effortlessly co-create. It happens without even trying, because you're just building on what you hear. There's my improvisation teacher, as far as I'm concerned. His name's Keith Johnstone. As far as I'm concerned, he's changed the world. One of the things in his book, Impro, is he says that people who say no are rewarded by the safety they attain. And people who say yes are rewarded by the adventures that they have. It doesn't mean you must always say yes. And in my experience, yes it can change your life. It can absolutely change your life. So what I ask people to do is don't always say yes. We don't walk into traffic when we might get hit by, let's go, okay. If you notice when you feel that impulse to say no, check in with yourself, notice and ask yourself if there's another response that you could have, and let that change you. The impulse to say no is strong in some people. Anybody know anybody? It's usually a big sister who's really good at saying no. And no, okay. It's just my big sister. Okay, so I want to get a few people to come on stage and play with me for this final activity. Oh, no, I don't have time. I have time for questions. What questions do you have? Let's pretend you did an activity. No, really, it's my bad. Woohoo, I made a mistake. I'll just go to the end. La, 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 la. Okay, good. So if you don't listen and you don't adapt, then butterflies die. And you don't have roads or paths, you just have piles of rocks. There's my joke. Okay, so I have time for one question. Hello.
Hi. I'm wondering, when everyone in the room is being really negative or asking those questions where they're saying it, what's the best way to do it without coming across as like the crazy one?
I'm so glad you asked that. Okay, that's one of the tactics I use. I go, oh, I'm so glad you pointed that out. Or, you guys are so intelligent. Or, you have so much insight. Let's see if we can incorporate this and do something with it. So this works for me. I'm a nice old lady, so I can do this. I go, right? I basically take all the negativity and I suck it into a big vacuum and turn it positive and go, yeah. Especially when it's one person who's, it's like everybody's on the same page and then one person pees in the pool. Then I go, I'm so glad you brought that up, because if you're thinking it, other people are thinking it too. And this is important, right? So I basically value that point of view and then do some kind of magic where I shift it around. Like, I hear there's a lot of negativity. Do you have any interest in shifting that? Something like that? Does that make sense? So it's, the Aikido of changing people's moods. I'm out of time. You guys are awesome. If you want to know more about improvisation, I'll stick around afterward and teach you a game. All right.